Shots that shake are the mark of an amateur shooter. In fact, the first and most foundational rule for shooting professional footage is shooting steady. There's no place for shaky shots in professional productions. The good news is you can shoot shake-free shots, and in this episode I'll share 5 tips from my own experience to help you shoot rock-solid video. Aside from making your productions look like home video, shots that shake break a cardinal rule of production. They draw the viewer's attention away from the subject and onto the edge of the frame. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the content of your productions is king. Anything that distracts your viewer from the main message has got to go. That includes shaky shots. I've got 5 tips for shooting steady, so if you're ready, let's take 5. Tip number 1, use a tripod. A tripod is the best tool for shooting steady shots. The first rule of shooting steady is to always use a tripod, unless you absolutely can't. Don't worry, we'll talk about shooting handheld a little bit later. There are reasons people use tripods. They let you shoot solid, steady shots and they allow you to make smooth moves. Not all tripods are created equal, however. You can generally judge how good a tripod is by its weight. Compact featherweight models aren't good choices for serious shooters. If you want to shoot like a pro, you're going to need a strong set of sticks to anchor your camera. There are a few things to look for in a good tripod. Make sure the model you choose has a fluid head. Watch out for friction and fluid action heads. These tend to grab or stick when you make moves. If you plan to pan, make sure you have a real fluid head. Look for a model with a bubble level. This is the only way to make sure your shots will be on the level. I like a tripod with a long, strong pan handle. When it's time to pan or tilt, a hefty handle helps. I highly recommend a quick release plate, so you can pop your camera on and off quickly when it's time to move to a new location or lock up your gear for lunch. Lastly, look at the legs, specifically the leg locks. There are several types of leg locks. Some have levers that you flip, others have handles that you twist, and others use screws that you tighten down by hand. When you're shooting from a tripod, make sure you mount your camera carefully. Tighten the mounting plate to the camera and make sure the plate locks firmly into place when you attach it to your sticks. Spend time practicing your pans and tilts. It's important to adjust your drags before you roll tape. If the drags are too loose or too tight, your moves won't look right. There are lots of ways to stabilize your shots, but the method you choose first and foremost should be a tripod. Tip number 2, keep your hands off. Get your hands up and step away from the tripod. If you're shooting a static shot, touching the tripod, even just resting your hand on the camera or the pan handle can cause vibrations that can be seen on the screen. Avoid hugging the camera tightly or trying to hold it steady by hand while you shoot. When you're shooting static shots, it's best to frame up, lock your drags, and take your hands off the tripod while you record. When it's time to reframe the shot, stop rolling, reposition, and lock it down again before you continue. Even the subtlest of shakes can cause your camera work to look less than the best. This hands-off approach to shooting has another benefit. It keeps you from zooming in and out unnecessarily as you go. But unnecessary zooms are a can of worms we'll save for another episode. Tip number 3, stand steady. Shooting steady handheld shots starts with a good stance. Sometimes you just can't take a tripod and you have to go handheld. To shoot steady handheld shots, proper body position is important. Stand with your feet about shoulders width apart to give yourself a strong, grounded foundation. Now bend your knees a bit. Use your legs like a shock absorber to stabilize your shots. Pay attention to your arm position too. Tuck your elbow in straight to keep your camera level. When you hold your elbow out to the side, your camera will want to fall over sideways and it makes it harder to hold your shots steady. Use your free hand to help hold the camera. This adds extra support and increases stability. If you're shooting with a small-bodied camera, make sure you don't rotate your wrist. Instead of panning by twisting the wrist, lock your arm and rotate at your hips. This will not only give you smoother moves, it creates the illusion that you're shooting with a bigger camera. Whenever you make a camera move, it's wise to begin with the end of your shot in mind. This is especially true when you're shooting handheld. Start by identifying the end of your shot. Frame up your finishing frame and point your toes at the place where your pan will end. Now, without moving your feet, twist your body back to the starting point of your move and start recording. Then pivot at the waist to make your move, painting from your unstable starting position to a rock-solid finish. A good stance is the secret to shooting strong, stable handheld shots. Tip number 4, find substitute supports. A creative shooter can find camera supports all around. In some situations, you need to find creative ways to steady your shots. Once you start to look for them, you'll find substitute supports all around. One of my favorite non-tripod supports is a sandbag. Put the bag down on the ground, or set it on a tabletop, the tailgate of your truck, even on a trash can. Then put your camera right on top for a rock-solid shooting platform. If you don't have a sandbag, in a pinch, a big bag of beans or rice will do the job. At the very least, give yourself a little support by finding something solid that you can lean on. Plant your elbows on a fence board, brace your back against a tree. Once you start to look for them, you'll see creative camera supports everywhere you look. Tip number 5, zoom out and get close. Your lens setting can work for you or against you. As you zoom in from wide angle to telephoto, you'll notice that your lens magnifies a lot more than just the subject of your shot. It also magnifies the movements that you make. If you've ever shot your son's or daughter's game from the top of the bleachers, you know what I mean. The good news is that the opposite is also true. As you zoom out, those minuscule movements are minimized. So, if you want to get closer to the action, it's best to use your legs, not your lens. Instead of standing far away and zooming in, zoom out wide and position yourself physically closer to the action. The wide-angle lens setting is one of the secrets that the pros use all the time to shoot steady handheld shots. Shooting solid handheld telephoto shots from a distance is tough, but it's easy to shoot wonderfully solid shots when you use a wide-angle lens setting and a close position. Whether you're shooting handheld or from a tripod, you can make shooting steady easier by zooming out and getting close. There you go, 5 tips for shooting steady. Number 1, use a tripod. Number 2, keep your hands off. Number 3, stand steady. Number 4, find substitute supports. And number 5, zoom out and get close. If you want your work to look more professional, start by stabilizing your shaky shots. These 5 tips should serve as a support group to help you put stability into the shots that you shoot. Until next time, shoot steady.